Good day. Welcome to another week of a week at the plot. I've been away for a few days in Guernsey seeing Mum. So I've just turned the calendar now. It's now Monday the 6th. So a few days later than normal, or 6 days later than normal, or 5 days in fact. And on it was turnips, as you may have seen. We've got some really nice turnips down here to harvest, which is great. Look at that colour. Isn't that glorious? There's also a little wasp there that's asleep. What isn't, well, let's just go to what is. The garlic here, I thought all three were coming up, but actually it's only the Primor at the moment that is coming up. Nothing in the Thermodrome or Messidor. Interesting. But what I have noticed, I've never had this before. Let's just take these hoops off. You can see a broad bean there and there. Look. Been nibbled off, and there's a hole. This one here as well, nibbled off. Over there you can see some lying, nibbled off. Another one there, another one there. Coming over here. Here, here. There. Now, there. Fascinating. I'm genuinely fascinated. I have never ever had this with broad beans before, overwintering broad beans. And Vivi has had quite a few issues with broad beans being munched and mainly with the seed being taken. And she's been sowing with chili pepper to reduce that. I have never experienced it, and of course these are Vivi's seeds, so maybe Vivi's seed is even more delicious than I gave them credit for a couple of weeks ago. They've germinated really well and are obviously seen as a tasty treat. I've never hooped them like this before. So is it the hooping? Is hooping them here not the right thing to do? I don't know. I have never ever experienced this before. Look at those. And you can see, in fact, let me pull this up. Can you see the hole? There. There. Here. This one is still holding in there. That one's gone. How utterly fascinating. You can see that one as well. Bizarre. Very bizarre. Vivian and I are going to have a few laughs about this, I'm sure. I think... I mean, it's getting quite cold, so I'm a little worried about doing another sowing. Let's just go up to... Are there any? These are just beginning to break through the surface. Later ones that I sowed. Yeah, and there's some there and there. I'm not going to net those. Let's just go up here and have a look at these. Oh, no, look. Look. That one. That one. Whoa. Oh. How utterly bizarre. Utterly bizarre. Let's get in the shed. Well, I am pretty dumbfounded, I have to say. Oh dear, I wonder what a growing year it's going to be. I've never had this before, ever, ever. In all my years growing broad beans, I've never had the seed below ground taken, and that's clearly what has happened here. The seed, the growing tip has been munched off the seed, and the reconstituted seed has been taken and eaten. I mean, you saw the holes. It's no, I've never had this before. I know Vivi has. And even in that second bed, just thinking about it, I was thinking, oh, is it something, there's more mice down this end or something, where the tunneled, where the covered broad beans are? Is it that end? Are there more mice there? Is the tarp a mice breeding ground? I mean, I know there's voles around. Maybe it's voles. They do that, voles, don't they? They tend to sort of get in the, yeah, maybe it's voles. Anyway, in the second bed that we looked at here, I've grown broad beans in there incredibly successfully in the past. Maybe I was a bit late. I was later than normal, I think, sowing our broad beans this year. So maybe in the past, when I've sown 3 or 4 weeks earlier, the plants have got to an established stage and the seed itself has become less tasty for it to be attractive to mice or voles. Maybe that is the case. I don't know. I don't know. Oh dear. I've sort of counted them up, and I think we've got about 8 of, I don't know, 8 of about 40. In the bed where the lettuce were, we'll see how those do. But you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to order some more, and I'm going to sow them in modules covered in the polytunnel, and then they can hopefully get ahead of themselves and I can plant them out come, I don't know, February, March? I'm not sure. Maybe I should just leave it till closer to the warmth and re-sow again in February, March in the ground. But would I have the same thing again? Of course I'm upset. I mean, you know, it is upsetting. And if we were relying on this plot for our food, you know, like Vivi does, I would be absolutely gutted now. I mean, there is time to re-sow, you know, there is time to plant into modules and get plants and get those out in the new year. Actually, I'm just going to pause here because I know that our fabulous plot neighbours just next door to us with the chickens, I know they planted out their broad bean plugs a week or so ago. Let me just have a look at those and I'm going to come back here. Right, I've had a look and I'm not quite sure that helps. Certainly they're plugs. They're about 3 inches high. They're plugs that they've grown themselves. They're not ones they've bought. They're ones that they've grown themselves. And as I say, they went out about a week, 10 days ago, something, maybe even 2 weeks ago. And they've settled in, and some of them look as though they've died back. But I'm wondering whether that was the hard frost that we had and it sort of knocked them back a bit. There's 1 or 2 that look as though they are level to the ground now. But again, that could be the fact that the wind has got them, that bad wind we had last week has got them, snapped them off, because there's nothing there that shows holes and obvious munching and taking away of seed. So I'm wondering whether the fact that the seed beneath the soil in their modules that are now in the ground, whether that seed is effectively given up its goodness, its nutrients to the plant already, and therefore is less enticing to mice. I don't know. It seems like a valid bit of reasoning, but I really don't know. What I do know is that I'm going to go home now and do something that I hadn't expected to do, and that's buy more broad bean seeds. I mean, I've got to laugh. I've got to laugh, you know, dumbfounded. But anyway, I've got some I've got some bay leaves drying here. I don't think they'll quite make up for not having broad bean plants over winter, but hey ho, hey ho. I'm going to go home and look online. I'll check out Vital Seeds and Real Seeds first. See you soon. Bye. Good day. It's a pretty breezy Wednesday. And what storm have we got? Storm Barra is over us at the moment. Not as strong as Storm Arwen last week, though still pretty breezy. And there's been quite a bit of rain as well. And this morning I was at my desk and I was finishing off the next A Guernsey Gardener in London copy, and I needed to take a photo, so I've come down to do that photo. And the next segment that will appear in the Guernsey Press is about Christmas veggies and Christmas time. So I thought, as I was writing about certain things, including parsnips, I thought, come on, Paul, harvest your first parsnip. So that's what we're going to go and do now. Fingers crossed. Just take some of these dead leaves off. Oh, look. Can you see that? Oh, you can't see that at all. Let me move you. Okay, so I've come over here now. Hopefully, look, you can see. Well, oh, that is rock hard in the ground. That is ground levels here. So that it's sort of pulled itself down quite a bit. It's well, it's ground level. It's supposed to be 3 inches below ground level. Let's see if there's one there as well. You can't see that one. Right. Let's move this around, this soil. Definitely need to get my fork out. I don't think that's even moving it. Oh, nice. Let's clean it up a little bit and go back into the shed. Well, to say I'm pleased with that parsnip would be an understatement. Look, I reckon about 15 inches. I'm sure we all know what 15 inches is. And it has broken off here. Look, there's So that bit was still in the ground, but no no root fly on there whatsoever. So, you know, really a really nice parsnip. Of course, the fact that this is such a glorious parsnip doesn't mean that the rest are going to be good, but certainly for one, it's been a good growing season, and I put my fingers down just to feel the shoulders of some of the other parsnips, and sure enough, they all seem to have the same shoulders, which is here, as this one does. But yeah, what a glorious find this afternoon. Just putting it back down there, and I think we're going to have that this evening in a stew. I think a bean and vegetable stew this evening. So yes, look, I'm happy. I'm really happy with that. After the debacle of the broad beans on Monday, I'm very happy with that first parsnip that we have pulled. Though, as I say, pulling that parsnip first and having it so good is no guarantee that the rest will be the same, but you know, fingers crossed. I remember when I was on the plot further down, I had a year where the first parsnips that I pulled out were absolutely fantastic, just like this, and I pulled out 3 and I went, oh, you know, fantastic, and then like the next 18 I pulled out were all forked. But of course, this compost here is spent compost that I think there was some tomato spent compost in there, and it's very, very light compost. You know, there's no soil in there actually, so it doesn't have a lot of nutrition, and that's exactly what carrots and parsnips like. They don't like too much nutrition, and they like soft, fine soil. So that compost did us well, and of course in this current growing year they're going to be where our potatoes were, so that's one of the beds that we covered up a week ago. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to take my parsnip home, and I'm going to show Richard my 15 inches. See you very soon. Bye. Good day. It's Saturday afternoon, quite cold. This is the first time I've been down here since Wednesday, and there's been quite a bit of wind, so there's a few pots strewn about, things like that. And also, as I came to the shed, it's funny, it looked exactly like it was when I left it, but I sort of knew it wasn't. And inside was a lovely gift. Broad bean seeds, and the thing is, I'm not sure who they're from. I will find out over the coming days, but it's quite, there's a little bit of synchronicity in this, because I have been given these seeds by somebody here, and I'm just about to take this packet of seeds that I'm not going to be using to the post box to send off to the Free Seed Company. I'll put their address down below. They're a great organisation, a great charity, and you can send them your spare seeds, and then they distribute them to organisations and associations that request seeds. So that's great. And the other thing that I have now, talking seeds again, is butternut squash. So I bought these organic butternut squash. They're Waltham butternut, one that we normally grow. So I think this actually completes my seed requirement for this growing year, next calendar year. So I think I'm sorted on seeds now. I will, of course, be checking through that seed box yet again to double, triple, quadruple, trillion oople check, especially having forgotten to get butternut seeds last year. But I think I'm I've got a full complement of seeds now. Apart from, I did see some black chickpeas, which I have not seen before. I'm not talking about the normal chickpeas. I'm not talking about brown chickpeas. These are actually, I think they're Greek black chickpeas, which I find quite interesting. Anyway, we shall see. The light is going. I hope this video is recording properly because my screen is so dark. I'm not sure. And I did notice in last week's video, when I looked back on it, there was a bit in the dark like this, and it seemed to be quite slow. The audio was fine, but the video was a bit odd. So I hope that is not happening here. Anyway, I will be back down here tomorrow. I think I'm going to be harvesting Brussels sprouts tomorrow for our evening meal tomorrow. I've just come down and got some squash, some of our small squash, and I'm going to be making a squash, chickpea and black-eyed pea stew this evening. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I am going to go. I'm sniffing quite a lot. We did have our boosters yesterday. I'm absolutely fine. I've got no ill effects from it whatsoever, though Richard is feeling a little sore in the arm. Well, a lot sore in the arm, actually, and a tad tired. So he's having a nap on the sofa at the moment. I'm going to go home, have a cup of tea, and maybe watch another episode of Endeavour that I've most probably seen about 10 times before. Anyway, see you again tomorrow. Bye. Good day. It's Sunday, about mid-morning. When I got out of bed this morning, I was full of pep and vigour and thought, right, I'm going to get down to the plot and work on the area to the, well, in here, to the left of the cardoon, where the rhubarbs are going to go in. I thought, yeah, I'll get down there and I'll crack on and do that. And I got really quite excited about that until I realised I don't have suitable footwear at the moment. The mend that I tried to do on my boots that I use down here, the mend that I did a couple of weeks ago, it really didn't work and they were letting in water. So, you know, I hate wet feet. So, yeah, I decided not to. That sort of put me into a bit of a, however, I have been told of, or I was told of, and have been to a local cobbler that I didn't know about. And it was a lovely Indian couple, and they say that they'll be able to mend 2 sets of boots that I've got, which is great. So fingers crossed on that. I have taken our boots to a number of cobblers, and sort of shoe repair people locally. I think about 5 sets, including a big brand name, and they just went, no, can't do that, can't do that. One did sort of say, oh, we can do that, it'll be about 40 quid. And I thought, well, I can buy a new pair of boots for that, so, you know, it's not worth it. So I decided to come down here and sow some broad beans, which you can now see, or have now seen, I have done. Whether they will, well, we'll see, won't we, how they fare. I've kept others back for sowing in February, so it's not a highly scientific experiment, it's just a scientific one. In fact, it's just an experiment, I think. We'll see how these do, and then they will go into the bed down here where Vivi's broad beans are. The interesting thing is that since I saw the broad beans being eaten earlier in the week, I think that was, no more have been taken, though the ones in this bed have all been completely munched, and the ones in this bed here, this side of that green netting. Hey ho. As you can see, there's a few bits of things just floating around which have blown in with the wind and blown over. So what I'm going to do now, because I don't have sensible shoes on, what I'm going to do now is just a bit of pottering and just a bit of picking up of things and putting them in the right places. But right now I'm going to say goodbye to you for this week, and I'm going to get on with a little bit of weeding of the carrots in the polytunnel. See you very soon. Bye.